Hey guys, Michael Ketchen here with another episode of the Michael Ketchen Show, and I'm joined by the beautiful and lovely Jennifer MacLaren.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm excited to have you as you came to an event and just kind of destroyed everything I was doing at the event, and you called it a quote boys club, which is how we connected. So she's in the standard. She's been to a few of the events, and as I got to know you a little bit, you are one of the more fiery entrepreneurs I've had the pleasure to meet.
Oh,
So I'm glad to have you here.
what an accolade.
Well, I'm also still not super sold on all the flowers that you keep trying to throw on the show.
Yeah.
But I did want to talk to you because anybody who's been following along knows Manchester, New Hampshire is near and dear to us, and we're trying to help the revitalization and restoring this beautiful city. And it seems like a passion you also have.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about what you got going on with the Dew Collective, and again,
Sure.
the curator,
Yes.
as you mentioned, the
Yes.
owner and curator of the Dew Collective. I'm glad I didn't mess up that word.
Thank you.
Sound clip.
I know, especially because I hope to talk about art too while we're here, of course.
God, everyone's gonna think I went woke, Nick. Next
Both-
thing's gonna be my fucking pronouns. Like,
Both
what are we doing here?
flowers
All
and
right.
art.
Yes.
And I actually don't use pronouns.
Okay,
so
thank God, because you wouldn't have been on the show. We would have cut this whole episode. No,
there
that's
you go.
Go ahead. We just lost half our audience. All right, so talk to me about the Dew Collective.
So the Dew Collective was founded out of all of my passions.
Okay.
I have had a 20-year corporate career. I was
Okay.
most recently on a pre-IPO track, which means I was a slave to corporate America.
That does not sound fun.
It really wasn't. I was making money for someone else. I didn't get to reap the benefits. And then I was on call all the time. And in Manchester, New Hampshire, that means hopping on a plane Monday through Thursday. And I wasn't in town, actually. So I am a mother of three. They are part of the public school system here. And to your point earlier about wanting to be part of the revitalization, that's very much what I wanted to do. So I was afforded the opportunity post pre-IPO. I did consulting for a few years for some, within industry, other big corporations, and just said, this is no way to live. I've
Yeah.
got to start living my truth, which is art and color and all of the beautiful flowers that
The beautiful flowers
now
that you
get to
brought the
surround
show.
myself
Yes.
with. Yes, every day. But I took a lot of the learnings from the pre-IPO track I was on and applied them to my job. So I wanted to be part of a local business here in Manchester. I did so by acquiring a 37-year-old flower shop.
Oh, hold
That
on.
was-
So slow down there. Hold on. We got to get into this.
Yeah.
So you bought the Dew Collective was an existing business?
No, so Dew Collective is my umbrella company, and
I was
that's
gonna
my
say,
stamp.
yeah, that's pretty original. Okay.
Yes.
But you bought the existing flower shop
I
business.
did. So Manchester Flower Studio is what's fueling a lot of Dew Collective's
Okay.
runway at this point.
Okay, that's awesome.
So it's a 37-year business here in town. Janet Damaris was the previous owner.
Okay.
She was over just up the street a bit, not on Hanover Street. So in April, right after I opened my Newburyport location, which is my flagship store for Dew Collective, she actually called and said, my building's sold. We have to relocate in 2 weeks. Time to go.
Oh, okay.
So she wasn't even going to retire.
Were you like negotiating with her ahead of this?
So
you
I
were
was
working on this.
I was. So
Okay.
I was apprenticing with her since October of last year in
Okay.
2023. And all of this happened in March and April timing
Mm-hmm.
of 24. So really fast spring, like
That's awesome though.
a complete blink, and it was gone. And then it was summer and hot, really
Yeah.
hot here this summer, which was great.
Yeah, it was very
Right?
hot.
Really nice. And now it's fall, and I'm settling into this whole new life of being a business owner in Manchester. I'm, fortunate to have lots of friends and great business connections in town. I've lived here for 7 years. We're in the North End. Again, the girls are part of the school district, so I'm very involved with the Manchester has like Manchester Proud is the school committee that works on just building the rapport and the connection of parents to children
Yep.
through their education,
So
right?
can I jump in with one thing you said there, because I don't want people to be confused. You said something a second ago I disagree with. You said you're fortunate to have a lot of friends here. I disagree completely. Having known you for the hurricane that you are in the last couple of weeks, it's so important, especially when you're getting into business, to be authentic, to be
Yes.
yourself, but also to network and put yourself out there. You clearly struck up these relationships intentionally. I don't know if that comes from your corporate background, your personality, a combination of both, but you weren't fortunate at all. You put yourself in that position.
Thank you. Yes.
So just to jump in right there, because I think it's something that's actionable, everyone can talk to. Going from a big corporate, like urgencies on 12 the whole time, there's no sleep IPO world, to come into a small business community. did that networking skill translate very well, or did you almost have to like rein it back a little bit at first?
I still do every day.
You rein it back just a little bit, just throttle down a little bit.
You have to, right?
Let's talk about that.
So I do think that there is something in gravitas too, right? So that there is a presence that we all bring to the world, and when we're walking into a room and who we're meeting with, like you and I met by chance. Even that night that I walked in here to the boys club for the
And
first
left
time.
in 5 minutes.
And left in, I think it was like 3.5 minutes I was here for.
Why'd you guys leave? I still don't get, like, we had a great speaker. They left, like.
I know. And we were just like double booked and we didn't know what we were really walking into.
So
We
you
didn't
big time
know.
me. You left the standard event for something that you thought was a better. What did you go to? I got to at least know what you went to now.
It was really big night.
What was it?
Lots of things going on in
Yeah,
town.
a lot of
Mike.
things.
You just got to stay on top.
I don't know about that, but I'm going to take that and I'm going to run with it. That's okay.
Yeah, let's run.
Yes.
So I do think that there is something with gravitas, right? You and I met by chance even during that event.
Yep.
But we were able to carry a conversation because we've both been in different circles and had those level of
That skill
conversations
kinda, yeah.
before, right?
Yep.
That makes it enjoyable for us to connect and want to do it again and then hopefully work together, right? So it kind of like snowballs from there. I do think that there is a fair bit of throttling the corporate New York lifestyle. So prior to living in New Hampshire, I was 7 years New York, 7 years DC. So very much a city girl through and through. And coming here in general was like a huge, oh my God, there's trees everywhere. And I drive a car. Like I didn't have a license for a lot of years, right? And that might have been a good thing.
Yes. Given the way you're out there. Yes.
The road might have been a safer place. And I have met quite a few policemen since being here. I don't use the brake as much as I
You know,
should
the city
in the car.
likes me generally. You got to get me in trouble putting this out there.
So anyway, so different lifestyle, yes. And then in business, tailoring it for sure. And I think making time for employees and staffing has been really important for me.
Yeah.
I love building, right?
Okay.
So part of me wanting to do this entrepreneurial bent was to build something of my own that I could put my own stamp on and share with the world. I get to do all of that on a daily basis. So it's so much gratitude, and I'm thankful every day that I wake up and get to come into either of my shops.
Hey, you look excited and fired up to do it.
Totally.
Yes.
And then building the partnerships with the different businesses that I'm working with and or the boards that I'm partnering with, because that's a lot of what happens, especially in the revitalization of Manchester. It's fixing the systemic issues that are rampant within the town and making it so much of what I wanted to do was make it more accessible, even in the art world. I want it to be more accessible. I don't want people to shy away from it or feel like they're not good enough because they're not a certain price point or they're not in a certain featured
Are you
gallery.
attacking me personally now?
No,
Just because you
honestly,
wanted like my $5,000 pieces, like what's going on here?
yeah, so I would love for you to buy some $5,000 pieces for these beautiful walls, but if you don't want to, we can feature different artists every few months, right? So there are ways around it. But there is something in art that inspires me, and having that creative expression is something that I want to be able to give to the world. And I try to make like, if you think of the standard as a boys club, Do Collective,
Which it's not.
Do Collective is very much a girls club. However, I have tons of male customers.
So you just asked me to go speak at an event.
Okay, but that's because that's a male event.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. We're going in different boxes here, Nick.
And a professional event. I should call it a professional event.
Yeah.
But for the most part, when people come into my shop, I'm hosting bridal parties or baby showers or different types of like female-oriented ladies' nights out for flower arranging with wine and bubbles. And I do pop-up Pilates classes all the time. They love it because they get to come
I don't
in.
know what Pilates is.
Pilates is like that bar type, like you bring your own yoga mat and you get to do yoga on the mat in your own space. And then you have my beautiful art on the walls, my pottery from my fabulous potter.
You're bringing in the funny thing. We're trying to do the same thing with the standard where you're changing, I call it the walking demographic. You're changing the walking demographic of the downtown.
Yes.
You're getting off Elm. You're bringing a different kind of person in.
Totally.
That it lifts up
Yes.
the entire area and restores some of the beautiful things about this city.
Right.
And doing that through a very different way than how myself and Commonwealth Collective is trying to do it, but it's It's a great
similar
mission.
roots, right?
Yes.
It's bringing our experiences from not here. Neither you nor I are from Manchester, New Hampshire,
Yep.
but for me, this is now home, right? So what can I bring from my experiences in the world that will change the way somebody looks at another human or experiences the world in a different way after coming into my shop? And for you, there's so much, I mean, it's a social club, right? So there's so much interaction with the individuals that come here that I think end up inspiring, hopefully, other ideas, other business.
That's the growth. And I know one thing we talked about, and we're going to do it at some point. We just got to get on the calendar coming up. I love the idea where you talked about you're going to have kind of my world, the real estate world, the business world, everything in Manchester. Hey, let's feature some of these local artists, but let's also bring the artists in a little bit to kind of mingle and get those worlds to cross over. Because I think one thing, especially in a city like this, that's kind of at like an epicenter. It's the biggest city in a small state, right? I'm trying to change the narrative around capitalism and business. Like, capitalism and business is not evil, despite what people want to tell you.
Right.
We need to get those two people to collide because they can build something beautiful together, collaboratively.
Yes.
And I think the more we can do that, and you're leading that, of course, and we can do something like that here, I think it's awesome. I want to go back, though, to something I think a lot of people are going to be related to. I mean, it sounds like you were pretty burnt out. Is that an accurate statement near the end of it?
Fried.
What is it like? You come home, you're married, you got a successful career, the husband's got a successful career. Was it a gradual thing? Did you just pull the plug, be like, I'm betting on myself, I'm all in? Or were you kind of, you knew it was coming and you're like, I don't know what I want to do? Like, talk to me a little bit about this. Tell us all through that story.
Sure. So I think it was just a confluence of life events that occurred for me at a time that made me just wake up and say, this is no way to live. I had someone very close to me pass early. So that was pretty impactful in a way that pushed me. Thank you. Thank you for the condolences, but bet on yourself. That guy bet on me every day.
That's awesome.
So I knew I had it in me, and that's what pushed me to go. And that was the time, right? So it just made sense, I think, because of the life events and where I was headed. And yes, God, we had to make so many conscious decisions that this is the time to do it. There's a huge risk involved. There's a huge amount of money involved. Like, I come from a place where I would have gas paid. I would have like anything that you could imagine. I've never paid for hotels because they've always been on prepaid. My airfare always covered because of miles.
And
right?
now you're a small business owner.
And now I'm a small business owner, and and I'm paying rent to two different fabulous landlords.
How's that
in
feel?
each city. Awful.
Yes.
Rent is really expensive.
That's why we teach assets, not liabilities.
I know,
Yes.
and I am kicking myself because I was working on trying to find a building, and I should have just. That is my biggest recommendation is to follow the Mike Ketchen way and completely invest in an asset as opposed to pay for your rent every month. Holy smokes. And now I'm just in this cycle that to get myself out of it, it's going to be some time before I'm able to look into putting money into an investment.
Yeah, that's the perfect segue, though, because then now that's like one thing I like to ask is, so 5 years from now, and this can change, not like get held to it, but I like to ask, so it's 5 years from now, what do you want? Not your most, you're not in fucking San Tropez sipping wine on vacation.
Come on.
What do you want?
Come on,
well,
I'll be there.
It might be. We went this summer. It was great. But what do you just want your typical Tuesday to look like as a successful entrepreneur, business owner? What do you want a Tuesday to look like?
That's a great idea. So Tuesdays are typically very busy in the flower business. So to give you a breakdown of the flower business, so my daily flowers are running my shop right now, right? So processing day is Monday.
Yep.
Orders come in constantly. Tuesdays, it's pretty much like the shop now gets to go deploy all of the things.
Yeah, I get all the shop. What I'm saying for you, though, is what do you want as the owner to look like?
So then,
the ideal business.
So then for me, I want to know that like the people that I have in place within each shop are doing their part within that daily execution.
Okay.
Where I want to be spending my time is obviously in the partnerships and more. I love the art,
the collaboration.
Right. So I think that between now and then, there's so much that needs to happen for my my staffing model, what gets pushed out on a weekly basis, and then the partnerships that are grown, and the events that are hosted and the people that we're bringing together. So for me in 5 years, success is being pretty close with I would call it like a boutique hotel chain that has quite a few locations throughout the Northeast. I have a few under my eye.
You're watching aggressively.
That I'm kind of watching. I haven't yet said, like, can we meet? But
getting close.
We're getting there.
Awesome.
Mainly because I think that I can offer them a lot. And I've been approached by other boutique hotels too, but I think they're too singular of an operation.
You're looking for scale.
I'm looking for
That's
scale.
where the IPO piece is coming out.
Right. Like, I want to get plugged in at a level that I can help them grow and be as advantageous to them as they are to me.
That's what I want you to go deeper on. That's the question I was trying to get, is like, you're here now, right? But I see your personality, I see your drive, I see your ambition. What does, like, don't cop out like you did a second ago with that small vision.
Yeah.
5 years in the future, everything's breaking. Now, something's gonna break right, something's gonna break wrong.
Yeah.
What do you want to look like? What does the Do Collective look like in 5 years?
Yeah. So
in an ideal world.
So I still want to maintain my brand.
Yep, you want to keep
Jennifer
the brand.
MacLaren as the curator, I want to maintain.
So you want to build up Jennifer, not just the Do Collective.
Both, right?
Okay,
Because
that's very important.
I
That's a
love,
distinction. I mean, literally case in point.
exactly.
So.
Yeah, I love being able to do installations at different businesses and to work with business owners. And that could be internal for plants and flowers, and it could be regular. It could be art. But external too, right? Like you and I are even talking about murals or like different things on patios. Like, the way that you feel when you walk into a space is where I want to be able to make an impact.
Is that like the aesthetic consultant? Like, what would that be?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I can't spell those words, so that's good that I used them.
I know. And aesthetic is such a hard word right now because there's estheticians and then there's aesthetic that is more about decor and home furnishings, right? And that's where I want to play.
You want to
more
play
in
in
the
that space.
home furnishing space.
And doing the boutiques, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen,
So sorry,
very
you said-
interesting to see what that's going to look like.
Yeah. So 5 years is definitely keeping Do Collective prominent as a standalone. I don't know if I'm going to need the 2 retail rented spaces then.
Yeah. Hopefully, the landlord doesn't hear this.
Hopefully I'll be embedded elsewhere.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
And then staying with that, how much staff do you currently have?
So right now I have 4, and then for like full-time any day. And then I have seasonal as well because it's an entirely seasonal
And you're managing
business.
all of that?
Yeah.
Wow. Have you heard of EOS?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you use EOS?
No.
You should use EOS. We're going to talk after.
Any
We're going
of
to
the
talk
things.
off air.
EOS, X, all the things that you're on.
We're gonna talk
killing
off
it.
air. Well, I hope so. We're trying to do this.
Yeah.
Where can people get a hold of you? Where can they learn more about you and everything you got going on?
Jennifer MacLaren. I can be reached at Do Collective, DEWCOLLECTIVE, on Instagram and Facebook. And then email is jennifer@dewcollective.co.
You don't want to spell collective again, in case no one can spell collective.
They got it now.
They got it now.
2
You're
times
good.
through.
I am so glad I met you. You're a firecracker. That's awesome. I can't thank you enough for being here.
You're so fun. Thanks for having me.
As always, bet on yourself.